Well, there are many organizations in Maryland advocating for the LGBTQ community, and one such group is FreeState Justice. Their legal work stretches from doctors' offices, schools, and classrooms as well, all geared to address the community's needs. Joining us now from FreeState Justice is Phillip Westry. Good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Went through your website this morning, and you talk about a lot of legal services that you do. And there's services that we always see coming from a community organization, but there's a special thread as you look directly towards the LGBTQ community. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our community is unique. We're one of those communities where, you could be LGBTQ and Black, right? You could be LGBTQ and trans. You could be LGBTQ and an elder. You can be an LGBTQ person and also be a youth who's being bullied at school. And so our services are really geared towards all of those intersections within the LGBTQ community, really focusing on the folks who are hardest hit. So we have name and gender marker change work that we do that's mostly geared towards our trans and non-binary community. We have employment discrimination work that we do and housing discrimination work that we do that really cuts across the LGBTQ community as a whole. We also do health insurance and health discrimination issues, expungement work, family law work, and then we specifically do a lot of work around folks who have been victims of crime who are LGBTQ. And those legal services, I think, really help the community directly. And then, of course, we have our policy work that we do that a lot of people know us for.
For some folks who this just might be a new topic for them, just explain just how real that is. I mean, you talked about some things that are very specific, but when it comes to housing or bullying in school or healthcare discrimination, some folks may not know how real that is. Discuss a little bit.
Yeah, so here in Baltimore, we're a little bit safer than in other parts. But I would say if we're in Western Maryland, so our organization is statewide. So if we're in Western Maryland or we're in Southern Maryland, we still get a lot of kids who are being directly picked on and bullied at their schools just because they're LGBTQ. And the rates of suicides for those kids, the rates of personal harm, the fact that a lot of those kids aren't showing up to class every day, that's a real life example of somebody who's being harmed. And then when you think about our elders, folks who are 60 plus, if you think about what age they are and then sort of how they grew up in the time period that they grew up, they went through the AIDS crisis. They lost partners and friends. A lot of them grew up during a time where you could openly discriminate against someone who is LGBTQ. And so these folks are really vulnerable to elder abuse. They're really vulnerable to finding a safe space for them just to congregate. And so we do estate planning for those folks. It really is something that cuts across the spectrum of LGBTQ.
And for that generation, I'm guessing they aren't used to having an advocate. So for some of them, this might be new for them.
Yeah, so when we call up folks and say, hey, yeah, we can help you with your estate planning, or did you know that the VA now allows you to come back and actually change your the way that you had to leave the military if you were one of those people that was kicked out of the military during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We can help with that. Social Security benefits that are now available for people who couldn't marry the person that they loved, and they can now get those benefits and now retroactively see those benefits and really life-changing money that they can get every month can really take someone from poverty to somewhere that's safer. So, that's the work that our legal services are doing every day.
So we talked a lot about what you folks were doing as far as legal aid goes, but there's a policy arm where you look at a lot of bills that have been introduced recently that you may have deemed to be anti-gay, correct?
Yeah, well, first off, we're lucky to be in the state of Maryland. Maryland is in a lot of ways leading the country in advocacy for LGBTQ people. For example, we were able to get the Trans Health Equity Act passed in Maryland, which allows for trans and non-binary folks who are on Medicaid to receive benefits for gender affirming care. It's a big deal. It is the opposite of the direction in a lot of states. We're seeing bans on everything from drag shows. We're seeing bans on what you can talk about in schools as far as sexual health. We're seeing we're seeing bans on adoption, and we're seeing, bans on people just taking care of their kids as they see fit. These are scary times across the country. I would say in the state of Maryland, we've become more of a safe haven for people. And actually, that's one of the things that we're going to work on for next year is codifying Governor Westmore's recent executive order that basically makes Maryland a safe haven, but putting that into law so that we can protect trans and non-binary folks and their families and the medical professionals who have decided to pursue care that's gender affirming.
All right. That's Phillip Westry over at Free State Justice. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Yep. Take care.